I mean, it's like you can ruin the focus for the rest of your day if you get like out of your groove, no matter what that looks like for you, because it's different for everybody. So yeah, that's just my take on that.
Know yourself and acknowledge the season that you're in, because there comes a time when you have to be able to have balance in your life as well. You know, you can grind and you can hit it out, and that's awesome, but we are humans, we aren't robots.
Hey, what is up, everybody? Welcome to the Next Gen Traders YouTube channel. This is our first video. We're super excited to be coming out for you guys with weekly content every weekend. We're going to come out with a new video. My name is Lance, and I'm here with Sam, Xander, and Alex. Today in our first discussion, we are going to be talking about the OTC and listed market conditions. We're going to go into some trades, some trading psychology, our state of mind. Then we're going to go into a bit of an open discussion. And to end us off, we are going to talk about some stocks that we are watching for the current week. So with all that being said, without further ado, Alex is going to start us off talking about OTC market conditions. Take it away, bro.
Okay, hello everybody. My name is Alex. So this week, nothing really happened in the OTC, like in the OTC market. Like some like decent plays, but like the main point is you just like have to wait for them. Like you don't have to force anything, just wait for the plays to show them themselves. Like for example, like look for the first green days, because like the panic device as before, they just don't work. So like don't force this pattern, just try to learn something new, like breakouts, like just like explore the market, you know.
Yeah.
Like nothing special. So
Yeah.
it's slow. That's why I like thinking a little bit about listed. So let's see what's there.
Yeah, so on the listed market, AMC was like everyone played that. But you also had to have patience on the listed market this week, because if you didn't, especially on the short side, you would have blown up, because a lot of people, like on Wednesday, all the meme stocks were running. If you were long, you were probably great on that day, but if you were short, you probably blew up if you didn't have your stops put in. But Thursday was the best opportunity ever for shorts. It kind of just flipped long to short. And so patient shorts were prepared, and they got rewarded because AMC, BB, KOSS, all the sympathies for them, they all had their first red day on that same day as these stocks were just running. But yeah, I mean, if you were patient for short, and you stopped trading when you were long at the right time, you did good. But yeah, actually interesting was AMC was the leader the whole time until I think it was Wednesday, where randomly out of nowhere, KOSS, BB, and all the other sympathies kind of became the head of the snake. It was like a 5-headed snake or something. And it was just insane. If you didn't have your hard stops in, you probably got squeezed if you're short. So yeah, I mean, it was crazy. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, for sure. And I'm trading with listeds as well. Just to add on to what Xander was saying, I think the keynote of today of this week was patience. You had so much hype, you had so much volume. Everybody was anticipating these moves, were waiting for them, excited about them. So you had a lot of people who were gunslingers, a lot of people who were trying to jump the gun, don't miss the move, all these types of things. So the people who really profited from this week in the market were the people who had their plans, knew the real lines, and were patient enough to wait for their strategies to come into play and not try to overstep themselves. So I'll go with what Xander was saying, which is patience is definitely the word for this week.
Yeah, and let's go over some trades that we actually traded, because me and Sam both shorted BB on the right days because we were patient.
Beautiful stock. It's in my heart. Yeah.
All right, are we good there? Everyone see
Yep.
that?
Got it.
Cool. So, so the first day was Thursday that we started the short. And this, actually, let me pull up AMC. This kind of just shifted the whole market. So we had this run, and then pre-market, AMC had an at-the-market offering of like 11 million shares or something crazy like that. And that just shifted the whole market. All the stocks had their first red days. A lot of people shorted the the green to red line, and that was a great play, but I wasn't prepared for that because it literally happened like before 4 a.m. at my time or something like that. So me and Sam waited for market open, and we waited for a confirmation. And in our case, we were looking specifically for a death candle through VWAP, and a death candle is basically just a huge red candle through VWAP, or I mean anywhere really, but through VWAP is the best sign of momentum shift, and that's just a huge confirmation. So ideally, you want to short the bounces after that, and I think we just missed the first bounce, but we hit the second one perfectly, and the goal is just to cover into the same wash, and I think we just nailed this one perfectly. Uh, and yeah, a lot of traders had their biggest day today, mainly because like this huge move. Uh, the open was crazy on AMC and BB as well. And then going into the next day, we were mainly just looking for continuation, and it's even better on this day because there's so many longs, oh, buy the dip and all that. So lots of longs are trapped in here, and so any kind of pop is going to get sold into the next day. So we're looking for another confirmation, and that's what we did. Huge death candle through VWAP, and we shorted the bounce. And this time we actually got the first bounce, so we have more meat on the move. And I think our cover was actually great looking at it in hindsight. At the time, our thought process was, okay, let's not cover on the first wash because we're under PDT. We're not able to re-short the bounce. So we were like, okay, let's wait for the second wash to cover into. And I believe we were probably, yeah, we were risking just above VWAP at this point in time. But initially we were risking just above this is actually the best opportunity because the green to red line is right here and VWAP, so it coupled there. And so we were risking just above both these lines initially, and then as it went down, I think we were just risking above VWAP. And then we covered on support here because we weren't actually at the time sure if what we did is okay. So we just decided to cover at support here and take the safe profits. And later on, we're going to show you what me and Sam actually, like a new strategy we developed basically with this play, which will maximize profits.
Yeah. Yeah, and to add to this with our plan on this, so like Xander was saying, we were risking about the 620 line, 1620, when we were first originally entered, just because you got that whole number, it played off of that before. And then once we had that, confirmation, and we were really confident about this, 1560 line, and we were able to scale into that, we moved our risk down to the 1580. And something that we're really working on is just moving your risk when in the trade, and not trying to just out of emotion move it down and get stopped out, because that's so easy to do. It's being patient but also not risking more than you need to. So we both we felt that 1580 line, and we're able to move it down, because if you after you have that wash after the first bounce, it's like if you get back up to the 1580 line, when I think about it, it's like if it gets past this line, I don't want to be in this trade anymore. If it gets past this line, there's too much strength. It's not doing what it's supposed to be doing. So when your trade thesis, when it's not doing what's supposed to be doing, that's when you pull out and cover, and you can attack it later on if you need to. So that's kind of how we determine that risk there. And then like Xander was saying, with that cover on the second bounce, usually you would want to cover into the first wash. Ideally, just everybody says you lock in the profits, you take the win when it's there, don't get greedy. So we kind of experimented with this, but it was purposeful, which was not covering there and holding for that second bounce. But we kind of found a solution for that going into when we talk about the new strategy that we came up to. So I was very happy with this trade. It was a big achievement for me, the last two trades, and I felt like I really pushed past a barrier that I've been struggling with recently. So yeah,
That's awesome. That's awesome. Sam, you finished?
yeah, go for it.
All right, so I'm a little bit different right now. I actually didn't make any trades this week, so my strong focus this week was on trading psychology. Actually, I'm going to branch off of what overthinking with what Sam was talking about. So a main problem for me as of recent is I'm looking for my favorite setup, and I'm seeing it, and I'm letting it run in front of my face, and then I'm getting mad at myself afterwards. So this week I've been focusing a lot on trading psychology. I also, I mean, I got E-Trade Pro. I've been focusing on listed stocks a little bit more this week because they've been a little bit hotter than OTCs. So I'm making a little bit of changes, but I've been diving into Mark Douglas's how to think like a professional trader videos, and one of the big takeaways that he said was if the lights are on, you just make the trade. And even though it sounds simple, you see it, the light's there, or like a signal. He's talking about a signal. If the signal's there, you have no reason why you shouldn't make that trade. And it ties into this spot where if your setup is there and you know that it is, you're not only obligated to make that one trade, you're obligated to make those next 20 trades with that setup, because in the end, in the long run, the more you practice it, the better you're going to be at it and the better long-term success you're going to have. And then one more big pointer that I got from one of these videos. I'm not even 2 parts in yet, and I got so much more to learn from those. I love those videos. But so instead of like going into a play being like, oh, I think this is going to work out well for me, or oh, I think this is going to go against me, but to know your setup is there and to go into that trade with a completely random assumption with no bias of, oh, I think this is going to go up, I think this is going to go down, short, long, whatever. But instead of having that bias in the beginning, let the trade work and assess it after the fact. So after you're in with your setup, you assess it after you're out, whether or when you're mid trade instead of in the beginning. Because if you assess, or if you try to go in the beginning like, oh, I think this is going to go up, or oh, I think this is not going to work out for me, then that's where your emotions get tied in. So it's important to wait until you're mid trade and as you're exiting to just find your best point and not get emotionally involved in the beginning and end up missing the trade. So that's something that's been on my mind a lot recently. I have quite a few changes to make, and I just gotta keep improving, getting better every single day. We all gotta remember that's a marathon, not a sprint. And no amount of learning is too much learning. You can't study too much.
I've listened to Mark Douglas as well, and something he's talked about is where a lot of people, when they go into a trade, they have a unconscious assumption that they're going to be right or that the trade's going to go with them. And so going off exactly what you were just saying there is you need to enter a trade, have a plan, don't trade something that the odds aren't in your favor, but enter that trade as if you're flipping a coin, and if, it lands on heads and you get stopped out and you take a loss, or it lands on tails and it does what you want and you take a profit. Either way, you enter that trade with complete acceptance of either one of those outcomes, because you have to trade without that emotion. For me, what I've struggled with is overthinking, like Lance was saying there. And it's like most people have a problem where they are always getting stopped out. They're taking max losses, and they're so gun happy. They're like gunslingers. But for me, what it's like is I get like almost high functioning anxiety before entering a trade. Like I'll go to enter it and then I'll think of every possible reason why I shouldn't be in this trade and what could go wrong. And it cripples me. And they call it's like getting paralyzed by analysis. There's actually a word that people use for it. And I'm like, damn, like that's me. So
I feel that big time.
Yeah. I mean, it's my biggest problem right now. So I actually just had a conversation with one of my mentors at MIC, and we're kind of talking about this. And something that we were talking about is what I need to do is when it's time to enter into a trade, I need to think about the context of the trade. So the things that are important that, do I have SSR on? Is the trades easy to borrow? Is this a good short setup for me as a listed short seller? And once I have the context of the trade and I know that, okay, this is a good trade for me to be in, I just need to wait for that confirmation. Then once that confirmation happens, it's like, it's this weird mental trick where my brain just goes like red lights everywhere and I'm like freaking out. But what I really need to do is once that confirmation happens, there's only 3 things that you need to do before entering that trade: is decide how you want to scale and where your last line will be. 2, what size am I using for this trade? And 3, where am I going to get stopped out? And it's like, that's really what you need to know before you enter the trade. And anything for me personally, anything past that, I'm overthinking. You can't spend too much time on it. You just got to make the decision and go for it. And anything after that can be decided after the trade. So then once you enter that trade, you've got to turn off your thoughts. You enter into this almost meditative spot where you're in the trade and you enter into that flow. And it's just, you are at complete peace with whatever the outcome is, but your mind will try and keep running and keep running and keep running. So you've got to focus on executing the trade and then just allowing your mind to be at peace and not overthink it. And for me, a lot of that comes from a fear of taking losses, I realize. Because, you know, and the market, and Mark Douglas talks about this, whatever happens is your responsibility. You know, if you take a loss, if you take a gain, if you take a profit, it's your responsibility. It's from your fruit. And so a lot of people will be so personally attached to the market. And when they take a loss, they take it personally. They take it as a failure. When they take a profit, they think of themselves as higher than they should, you know? And so it's just so important that when you go in to this trade, that you are just allowing yourself to just be in that flow state no matter what happens, and not be so attached to the outcome that you take it as a personal failure or win, you know. Let's see here, just to put it on here. But yeah, so we'll move on to what Alex is talking about, his trades and everything, and then at the end of it, and kind of a free discussion area, I'll get into kind of some burnout stuff as well.
So you almost took all my points from Mark Douglas. I still have something else. Yeah, I watched like 2.5. So I watched the second part, the first part, second, and almost the third. And one of the like, I don't know, like it really like resonates with me. On the second part, I think he said like whenever you make a lot of money, like you start to like rationalize and think like, do I really deserve this money? And like if you think that you don't deserve, like you need to either like step away from the market or you're gonna lose it.
Yeah.
So I don't know how, but it's literally same thing happened with me in February. That was like my first month, and I made like 500. And to be honest, I really thought I'm like why did I make this money? Like, do I really deserve this money? And like I actually lost it. Like I don't know, like really like it's like psychology. Yeah, I was like newbie back then, so I guess that's why I lost all this money. But all the lessons learned. That's an OTC, of course. IINX. So on June 1st, they released news like somewhere here, like before like so before 3 p.m. Right? They released news about their like unveiling a new car, like electric car that's like 12-minute charging. Like I have a vehicle car, like I have a electric car, and it takes a lot of time to charge it. So when I heard like it's 12 minutes, I'm like if it's actually true, yeah, that's like amazing. So I bought it right here at 29. I mean, I was thinking about 28, but like when I saw that like some volume came because it didn't have a lot of volume. Like okay, so I bought it here, and I had a very small position, like $300. It's like twice more than I usually take. So I had a wide risk. So it started to spike right away, and I just held overnight with like a 10% cushion. So then when I woke up, it had like a little gap up, but then near the open, it started to like go more to 34. And right here, this is the candle that you could have got shaken out, but I just waited because like also the risk was green red, so it didn't even like was near there. So I just held, and as soon as it broke this high at 35, I thought about selling, but I was just like I always want to sell like after the top, even though it didn't happen here. So when I felt that it was the top, I just oh also I forgot to mention there was one big bidder here at 34. I think he had like 20,000 shares. It just wasn't moving. Like he was just stuck there. Like like everyone was like selling, but he was just right there. I'm like, okay, this is the guy. Like we need him. So he was still there, and then even somebody came like above him. So like okay, now like that's a good like wall of buyers. So but at some point I was just okay, like that was already 20% gain. So I just don't want to get greedy. So I just sold, and then we just went a little bit more, and then look at this dump.
Wow.
It's like a perfect timing because
That's
I don't want to take the like I don't want to take the whole move. Just my personal because like you don't know the if it's the actual top. So if you like sell at the top, you either guess that or you just got lucky. So I just sold before the top. So I usually sell above after the top. Uh, it turned out this. So that was like 20% gain. I think that was my first 20% gain since February. So yeah, that was nice.
Awesome, man. Great
Since
trade.
February. Yeah. And also yeah, that was so that was team alert like high conviction alert. You know,
Yeah.
like it was like somewhere here at 28. So I got the alert and I didn't want to just follow the alert. So then I waited a little bit. I saw the like reaction to the like the news, the alert, and then I bought it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I saw here and then after this day, there's nothing. So it's literally dead.
Not
Also,
to,
they have they have a press conference I think on June 10th. So I like my initial thesis was like maybe swing it for several days, but then like if I have 20% gain, there's no way I can like not accept that. So
Can't pass it up.
that was a good thing that yeah.
yeah.
So I mean, it still maybe like it still may have a. I mean, I don't know. Maybe it can break this level, but right now just a guessing game. Just wait. They have press conference June 10th, so we'll see what happens.
Alex, what
Yeah.
were you up before the market closed? Do you know what your percentage
Yeah,
was before
10,
the market
10,
closed?
10, 9, 9, 10, 9.
You're up 10.9% for the close.
Even more.
Oh,
See?
dude. And that like that's the thing too is going along with that. Like I love your patience with this, you know, because you knew your theory, you knew your plan.
Yeah.
So you
Because yeah,
trusted that this
if
was
it,
going up. And so
and
I
also
love this is, you know, like we were saying, patience is the word for the week. I love
yeah, just yeah.
be able to hold through your thesis and not just get greedy and want to lock in gains that, you know, when you knew that your thesis was for a little farther.
And also, if it was like a different trade, like not with news, of course I would have sold. I think so. But
Right.
since like my plan was to swing, like since I bought it, that was my plan, initial plan. Like even if it, even I mean, of course, if it went down 20%, I would have sold. But still, if it went down a little bit, I would have held it still.
Yeah,
So
that's
yeah,
awesome.
that was a good trade. That was like my one of my best trades, not the best one, but since February. Right? So
Yeah,
yeah.
That's great patience, Alex. I honestly, if it was me, I don't think I would have been able to hold it overnight.
Yeah,
I'm just being completely honest with myself. I would have taken my 12%.
It's also the thing. So in February, in March, my main pattern was morning panic device, and this pattern like it's like 5 minutes, maybe 10 minutes max. So I wasn't also patient because as soon as you get the bounce, you sell. So in February, all the breakouts that I played, I lost on them. And see how like everything changes. Yeah, I think I adapted to the market. Took me 2 months, but still nice.
I can see it, man. You can see it in this trade, like
Yeah.
for sure. And you know, we've all been trading together and talking together, and I've been able to see your progress. And just like you were saying, you know, you're watching that bidder, and you know, just your ability to analyze, watch the tape in level 2. I mean, I've seen your progression, and it's so awesome to watch you grow with this.
Here, see this one?
Yes.
Right here. See this whole wall of wires? Oh, I mean sellers. They couldn't do anything with him. He was just there sitting there.
Yeah, that's awesome, bro. That's so good.
Then let me go on my second one. That was a clean first green day right here. But the only negative was the volume. Look at this volume. Usually the first green day number 5, they should have even more. I mean, not more, but like if almost the half of the volume that they had on the initial number 3. So that was a little bit of like not the perfect trade. So here, see here, he had a morning spike, and then as soon as it dropped, it was consolidating here, and I like put it on my like main watches. So then as soon as I saw this perk of consolidation, it was kind of like OTC Swizzle, like not perfect one, but kind of. So then I saw this volume perk, and I bought it right here. That was actually a good entry, 48, 0.48. Then we got this initial spike, and like as you know, I'm a patient guy, so I held through all this. I mean, if it was a 10% spike, I probably would have sold back. But my plan was for it to break the high day here. like if he got the volume, it could have easily broken and went like to 5-5. So then when it started to consolidate here, I didn't like that was very bad level two right here, and I just sold it for a loss. And the good thing about this trade is it didn't work out, but I still had a like 5% gain here. Like with commissions, that was $1 gain, but like I don't care commission, so you can see that I sold it here even though it didn't hit my risk. But at this point, I just knew that look, it had like zero volume here at some point, like zero volume. So I was just scared that you could just drop it.
Yeah. Yeah. That's awesome.
Also, just real quick here. This one,
Beautiful.
this one, I don't know what happened here. That was like good first game day. I got it here on the break. I came home here like 5 minutes before this.
Yeah, I remember this.
So I bought it, and I don't know why I saw it here because I had this stupid trend line. I had to like drill like this. See, it broke here and I sold. That was stupid. So it's on it right here, and then look at this run to the
Oh,
close.
no.
And then he also had news. So it's probably gonna gap up. So,
And Sam H got in at like
Yeah, yeah,
0.0689.
yeah, he's not tier
Of
3.
course
Hey,
it
he
did.
got it. Yeah, somewhere. Yeah, I mean, yeah, that was just buy into the close. But my entry, I think that was a good entry right here.
Dang. I like your entry on that for sure. I see
Yeah.
a good entry there.
I thought I was gonna do the same thing with MJML, but MJWL. Well, you live and learn.
Yeah.
Definitely.
I was doing that earlier this week. I had one of the moderators go over my trades, and I've got to work on the same thing as my exits and not exiting too soon, not getting spooked, not being having my stop too close. So for me, my exits are what I'm working on as well.
Yeah, well, you can see that my other two exits are pretty good. I don't know what happened here. So yeah, that was my trades.
Cool.
Oh.
That's awesome. That's really cool. Well,
okay, so that's 2-1. Like I won 2 of them, 1 loss. That's nice.
That's you keep that up, and that's what you need, like, and you're golden,
Yep.
Yeah, that's really cool. Well, I mean, all those trades are great. Xander, you made really good trades on BB. I'm really happy with mine. Lance, even with you, not trading is not a problem. Like you wait when you're ready, even, in your life, when you're not busy, when can be focused. So, I think each of us, we approached this week and we were able to really conquer it in our own ways. And I think that's a big victory for all of us, and that's all that really matters. For yourself, whether or not you're putting in your 100%, whether or not you're doing what you need to do for yourself. So I think we all did that. And that's what really, really matters. So we're going to head into like kind of an open discussion. Anybody who has any kind of topics that they want to go over and discuss. For me, the thing that I wanted to touch is something that I've been working through and working with the last couple of weeks, which is the feeling of burnout. I started back in January of 2021, and since then it's been a little bit over 4 months now, and I have not stopped. I have not skipped a beat for a second. It was just hardcore 10, 15, 16, 18-hour days every single day, weekends and everything. And I didn't stop with that. I just hit it hard watching videos 24/7. But, overall, I'd say the last like maybe 3 weeks or so, it kind of started to catch up with me. And, I hope that this resonates with some of you guys out there, because I know everybody's always like, you've got to grind. You've got to, 90% of people fail. So if you want to be the 10%, you got to do what 90% of people don't do. And so it's like, oh my God, I can't stop. I can't take a day off, And I see the value in that. And I would say do that, because you've got to grind. You've got to hit it harder than anybody else. But I would also say, know yourself and acknowledge the season that you're in, because there comes a time when you have to be able to have balance in your life as well. You can grind and you can hit it out, and that's awesome. But we are humans. We aren't robots. If we were robots and we could do this, we wouldn't be here today, So we are humans, and that's what's so important. And so it's learning how to hit that grind, but also take care of yourself and have the balance. So for me, what that looks like in the last week for me, and then also moving forward into the foreseeable future, is I've stepped back from just 24/7 videos like I was. Before I was data tracking, I was reviewing trades, I was watching videos, and if I wasn't, I felt guilty. Like I almost felt like sick inside, like anxious inside. I was like, I'm wasting my time. Like, what am I doing, So going into this new season for me, I am becoming much more disciplined actually in my life. Where I wake up, at 5:30 in the morning, which for me that's Eastern time zone, and I hit the market really hard when it first opens. But then I've designated for myself times that I allow myself to not worry about it. Don't stress it. Allowing myself to breathe, rewarding myself. I've grinded hard, but you have to have that balance. And for me, there's a difference between taking a break versus being lazy. You can be lazy. You can be, watching YouTube. I'm watching Netflix. I'm wasting my time. That's not what I'm talking about. If you're doing that, get off your ass and start grinding.
Yes, sir.
What I'm talking about is when I'm working hard, I'm grinding hard, but I just need a break. I need to take some time for myself. And so what that looks like, the difference between that for me is discipline. If I can be disciplined in the time that I'm taking my breaks, if I can be disciplined in the time that, I'm allowing myself to take a 20-minute nap, I'm going to go out on the back porch and, feel the breeze for 30 minutes and just be with my thoughts. That's discipline for me. That's allowing myself to take that break. But if you're out there and oh, I'm grinding, but it'd be nice to watch some YouTube right now. Okay, I'm going to pause the study video and go watch some YouTube. That's bullshit. Like, don't do that, because that's just being lazy. You are just wasting your time, your energy, and your mental capital. So it's knowing yourself, having that discipline in your life, but also taking that refresher for yourself when you need it, and knowing when it's time to check in with yourself again. So that's kind of what I've been working on this week. Do you guys have anything to add to that?
Just to add here, I think that's exactly what happened to Jack Kellogg.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Exactly. And I see that, because, he's going to doctors now. He's got, neck problems, back problems, relationships. And, he grinded it out. Nobody grinded it harder than Jack Kellogg. Like, and I'm sure he doesn't regret it, but also, if you see his tweets and stuff, and you can go back on his Twitter, he'll say, you need to have balance. You need to know your boundaries. And so now I want to take from that, because he went through the grind. He pushed himself, some would say, almost too far. He is successful and he's done it, and he's bringing it back in now. But, he's been through that, and he's coming behind and saying, hey, take the break when you need it. Have balance in yourself. Take care of your physical health, and take care of your relationships, So only you can do that. Only, like I said earlier, only if you're giving it your 100%. Nobody else can hold you more accountable than you are. And so if you're giving it your 100%, do that with discipline, but also allowing yourself to take care of yourself, take care of your relationships, because you don't want to be fully just engrossed in your identity and trading that, like I said earlier, when you take a loss, you take it personal. You feel like a failure. You've got to have that balance in everything that you do in life. So yeah, that's my take on it.
Yeah,
Definitely.
I think for a lot of people in their case, if they overwork, it's not going to end well, because a lot of people aren't as dedicated as Jack. And maybe you want to be a successful trader, and you will be a successful trader, but if you work too hard, maybe you aren't like attached to it enough to where you'll just quit. And with Jack, it works because he was just so attached to it and there's no going back, and he could work that hard. But for a lot of people, they would probably like fizzle down and give up eventually after working that hard. So it's good to have a balance, especially if maybe you are someone who could easily veer off from it.
Yeah,
definitely. I think Sam, I love what you said about like managing your discipline when you're taking time off from the markets, quote unquote, and like taking some time, like whether it's midday, whether it's after the market closed, to still be productive with your time when you're not actually in the market. And kind of, Xander, off of what you said, Brett Steenbarger had an amazing quote about like when you were saying like getting too like into the market and not having other things, and kind of how Jack Kellogg did. He says that if you don't have other things in your life that are more important to you than trading, then your emotions are going to flow up and down with your P&L. And that's when you can start throwing into some big losses, making some big mistakes. And it's just awesome to have, like, it's great to have that balance. Like me personally, like during midday in like 11:30 to 1:30 Eastern time is when I take like my midday break, and that's when my midday choice is to go work out as hard as I can. That's what I love to do midday. And yeah, everybody has things that they love to do. It's just I love what Sam said about just like not like going into it to a YouTube video or like going in to watch Netflix. It's like, I mean, it's like you can ruin the focus for the rest of your day if you get like out of your groove, no matter what that looks like for you, because it's different for everybody. So yeah, that's just my take on that.
And that's so true. I want to backpack off what you're saying there, where it's like when you get out of your groove, you lose your focus. And I know for me, like I can wake up at 5:30 in the morning. I can, sit through pre-market, trade the market open. But then if I'm sitting there, at 10:30 or whatever time, and I allow myself to slack off, watching that YouTube videos, my day, I'm done until I hit that discipline again. But it takes me off of that groove and it makes me lose that focus, like you were saying. So that's so key. That focus and that discipline allows you to make so much more out of your day, for sure.
For sure, it's all a mindset thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Also, to add here, I want to say that it's very great that we realized that early.
Yes.
Like not after like 3 years. Yeah, because then you're just not gonna have time to like make it all up, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
yeah.
I do want to say one more thing, Sam, about what you were saying about like whether being right and wrong. Mark Douglas said, like in one of the episodes that I just watched, he said if you're interpreting a trade of being right and wrong, you're already preparing to make a huge mistake on that very next trade that you're going to make. So that was just something that stuck with me. Like if you think of right and wrong, you're preparing to make another huge mistake. So yeah, I just wanted to throw that in there.
Yeah. So true. So true. Yeah. Love that.
Yeah, great points. Before we go into just ending it up, I'm gonna go over my new strategy that me and Sam developed for our death candle through VWAP plays. And this plan was created just so we can really maximize profits under PDT. So yeah, me and Sam created this plan so that we can maximize profits under PDT. We looked into all day faders, and I feel like trying to short all day faders is really hard because you never know what stock's gonna fade all day. Maybe at 10:30 when the algos kick in, maybe they can bring the stock up. You never know if it's gonna fade all day or not. And so we just want to be able to take profits and hold some shares for a potential all day fade. So yeah, so the first thing is I want to scale full size into the first bounce after a death candle through VWAP. And the key thing is we need at least 3-to-1 risk reward. Just maximum the minimum we need is 3-to-1 potential, and that's like maximum. So the full, like based off the full range, where's support and where's resistance to risk. So yeah, so on this example, we would do the same thing. Our goal is to do like 1 to 2 bullets, probably of like 40-50 shares if we're doing 100 shares. And we split that up, and we want to get in full size on the first bounce. And that is because we can't add into our winner on the other bounces because we're under PDT, and that would cost a whole other day trade. And the beauty of this is that we're going to be taking profits along the way. And so worst case scenario, we have some profits. Worst case scenario, we don't get a big amount of our shares, like we don't get that all day fade, and we just cut it for a little bit of profit. So basically, you do want to cover on every wash with this strategy, and the plan says to cover like 20% of your shares. So if you have 100 shares, you want to cover 20 shares every wash. So 20, 20, and then let's see. And then something I was talking about with someone at MIC is they suggest using a trailing stop once you get down past like the second wash, and that's an option. We're still kind of developing this, and we need to back test it and stuff. But the plan is just to cover 20% each wash until some sort of sign that the whole move, the fade is over. And a lot of the time we're going to be using pre-market support to get all out. So for this example, if we were using the pre-market support to cover our full position, we would have covered, right here full size. And instead of just covering into the first wash like the normal strategy says. So, I mean, in the future, we'll definitely like show you trade examples of this, and I can't wait to try it out and back test it and, just trade it and have real like proof of it working. So yeah, do you have anything to say about it, Sam?
Yeah, so for me, what I love about this is it allows us to really hold for that bigger move. Because like Xander was saying, when we covered each of the washes, we have a couple different ideas of how we move our risk down or do covers for remaining shares. One of them is that like 20-cent trailing stop, and then the other one is like having the covering your remainder of your shares at your previous cover. So like, for example, on the chart here you're showing, Xander, let's say we covered, 20% at the green arrow there. And then we covered 20 more percent down at the bottom at the next wash. And then we're holding, just for this, let's say we're holding another, 30% or whatever. So once this stock starts to grind back up, we would cover the rest of our shares right there, because that was our last cover up there. And so it's this thing where it's allowing us to hold our shares for a bigger move, because we are under PDT, and when you're under PDT you have to make more use of those bullets, but also not taking losses when we shouldn't be taking losses, because that's the problem you have with a lot of strategies that people put together when you're under PDT, is they get so greedy, they're trying to take so much of the move and they don't have a plan how to not take those losses. So they don't cover when they should cover, they don't lock in those gains, and then the stock reverses on them and they end up taking a loss because they didn't want to cover their shares. And so that's kind of what we were trying to create with this, is something that allowed us to take advantage of that move, but also having a very thought out plan for when those covers will be, to make sure we don't hold on when we shouldn't be holding. And the thing that I've had to think about with this is, when you're a trader, you've got to respond to the price action. You can make your plans and you can try and be super statistics, but ultimately the market's going to do what it does in that moment. And so, for me, when I'm trading something like this, I want to know my options. Okay, I can do a 20%, trailing stop. I can cover at my previous cover spot, or I can cover at my, my average. Whatever it is, I've got options and I can respond to that with the price action. So with this, like Xander was saying, we'll show examples of this strategy as the weeks go on. But I'm really excited to kind of try out all of those possibilities. But ultimately, like Xander was saying too, with the pre-market support, you want to cover at those major support lines, because you have to have that balance of, I'm not trying to be greedy, but I am trying to get a big part of the move. So you want to think, where is it statistically most likely to reverse at or be the end, which is those pre-market, those lines that Xander's drawing right here. So it's all about having that plan, not leaving anything just up to the wind, but it's creating that structure within an unstructured world, and that's why a lot of people have such a problem with it. But I think that we found something with this, and I know it's a little bit confusing until we can show some trades that really demonstrate this, but I'm really excited to experiment with this for sure.
Yeah, there's
Awesome.
lots of options, and I mean, we're really gonna refine it. There's a lot, like, it's kind of just like a rough draft right now. So after trading it over and over again, we'll really fine tune it, and we'll come up with a perfect layout and like setup for you guys to try out for yourselves too.
Yeah, for sure.
Definitely.
Okay,
All right, Alex, you want to go into some tickers?
Yeah, I want to like quickly go over like two. So we have this one, ENTS. This is like beaten down supernova. This is right now is doing like number two, like Jack says. Like same thing with IATX. Same thing. It was doing nothing, and then it had this first green day, and then you can possibly look for like the further breakout. Same thing. I'm looking on this one. So here you can see on the 15-day, 50 minutes, it's like perfect chart here. So possibly gonna like consolidate here for a few days, and then if you get a big volume perk, we can break over this over 50 cent and see how this support, like literally half a year, it's here. 6 months straight, didn't even break it. So it's very good. Like maybe not on Monday, but on the other days. And also this one just ridiculous. This one just looking for a panic. Yeah, that's all. Nothing else special. Like the other place, like like I don't know them, and that's why you just have to react, not predict.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna look for a big first green days, and then play them intraday. And on the IHX, I'm just gonna wait for the OTC swizzle, and the other two I said. So just looking for the place to show themselves, nothing forcing in the slow market. There's like in this slow market, you can get like 2, 3 good plays, like decent plays per week. Like as of like 3 months ago, you get like 5 each day. So now it's different. You just have to like it's like when I was first learning, I was studying the lessons from like 2015, 16. That was the exact market like right now. So I like yeah, just adapt to the market and play what works.
Yeah.
Definitely,
Next,
man.
next week for me, on the listed markets, I'm looking for. I mean, all the shorts. We're waiting for AMC, BB, and all the other sympathies to bounce again, and so we can reshort the confirmation then. So, I mean, I don't have a day trade on Monday. I get my day trades back on
Oh.
Tuesday, and Sam doesn't get it till Thursday. So we're
Don't
just
worry-
gonna
Don't worry about it.
we're gonna be paper
Oh.
trading until we get our trades back, but we're gonna be ready for any bounce into a
Oh yeah.
confirmation.
By the way, so me and Lance we have cash accounts. They have margin accounts because they short.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
good mention.
Mhm.
I just wanted to add one more thing onto Alex. So MSRT and ENZC are both multi-day runners. Morning panics are starting to come back a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit.
Obviously not how they used to be, and we all know how ENZC has such an amazing history of morning panics.
Mm-hmm.
But we're gonna see if those can come back. MSRT and ENZC, if they can morning panic, then great. If not, we'll adapt, like Alex said, and that's basically all it comes down to.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, my me going into this next week, I'm looking at these meme stocks. I mean, I don't think they're done yet. I think, like Xander was saying, I think AMC is going to plan for a bounce this week.
Yes, sounds the framework.
Yeah,
Number
hopefully
5.
we get, BB, KOSS, all those guys kind of go for another bounce that we can short into
Mhm.
for seller for me. So, I'm really watching these meme stocks, looking for the opportunities they present. But for me, as far as specific tickers, other than that, I respond to what the day gives me, what's in action and what's presenting itself. But what I'm really focused on this coming week is, like I said, is, not overthinking it. Creating that balance in my life, that discipline, getting up in the morning, making my plans in the morning, and then allowing that balance throughout the day. But what I'm really, really focused on this week for me, achievement, is not overthinking it, allowing myself to just go with the flow, go with what happens, respond in the moment, and see where that leads me. So those are the two things I'm really focused for next week.
Definitely.
Cool. Well, I think that's pretty good for our first episode. Let us know how you guys think about it in the comments. Let me know if you guys learned anything. And I mean, I hope you guys learned something from this. In the future episodes, we're definitely gonna get more like, consistent with our our talking points and our format and stuff. But yeah, I think this is a great first episode.
Yeah, I'm super happy.
Definitely.
This is awesome. It's
I love seeing
unbelievable.
all y'all's faces. I mean,
Yeah, man, this is awesome. It's first time actually that we're talking face to face.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
know. And I think Lance said this in his intro video, where it's like, this is really going to be a special time because this is when we all get to talk, see each other, go over how we're doing. So I'm so excited for all these videos as well.
Yeah, if you
Me
guys
too.
haven't
I
seen,
can't wait.
if you guys haven't seen the intro videos, I would go check those out. It's just a little introduction of everyone in Next Gen Traders.
Yeah, we'll
And
link below.
yeah,
Link
yeah,
in the
link down
description.
below.
Xander will put it in there.
Yeah. And yeah, and there's only 4 people here today, but there's a lot more.
Yeah.
There's like 3 more
We
traders.
have 7. Yeah.
Yeah, there's more traders and Next Gen Traders that you guys will be able to meet in upcoming episodes.
Yeah.
All
Definitely.
right, cool.
Awesome.
Yep, I'm looking forward to Monday tomorrow. I can't wait. I'm excited.
Me too.
Let's kill it this week, guys.
Cheers.
And see you
Bye.
next week.